Hello, everybody. Bruce from Oregon here with the Bruce Morgan Show. This is Court of X. We are going to go over more of David S. Gingras' tweets and replies in this amazing Part 5 video of the big series. Now, remember, I do have a playlist of all of these Clayton Echard paternity scandal videos I've made talking about, what does it mean if something is a cult, talking about the Lisa Chen Facebook account, talking about these tweets, talking about all kinds of stuff related to the case. So if you need to get caught up, that playlist exists. Go check it out. Now, today is October 21st, but I will be releasing this video at some point in the future. We are still on tweets from October 10th. Oh my gosh, guys. And today's guest cat is Kissy Thunderball. Kissy has a little crown and heart-shaped sunglasses and a pile of money. Maybe Kissy would like to donate some of that money to me, Bruce the Moose, Bruce from Oregon, over here. That would be nice. I could buy a burrito. Let's get into the tweets, shall we? Because we're trying to keep this under an hour. Now, I don't know if we're going to make it up to the present time frame, going at the rate we're going. This guy was busy tweeting on October 10th. David tweeted, "Have you ever tried arguing with people in a cult? I wish I could say I had not, but I have." Okay. Why would you do that? I feel like if there was a legitimate cult like this Nexium cult or the Jonestown Massacre, I would probably just not engage with those people. Like if some religious cult came to my door and wanted to solicit me to join their cult, I think I would turn them down or not answer the door. I don't know what he's talking about here. He says, "I don't recommend it." Well, yeah, of course. Because it's about as much fun as eating French fries cold and dry without ketchup. Unfulfilling in every way. Well, I mean, if you are starving to death and the only thing you have are cold and dry French fries, I imagine you would eat them in order to try and stay alive, which would be fulfilling in some aspect, I think. But that's a very specific situation, not the general situation. So I'll cut him a little bit of slack, although I don't think you can say that eating cold and dry fries without ketchup would be unfulfilling in every way. Because if you were starving to death, you might appreciate those cold and dry French fries. I don't know. There's at least one case I can think of to refute that claim. Be Better says, "Hi, David. Happy Friday. I hope you enjoy your visit to Tucson. Bear down." What? Thank you for using the French fry metaphor. Soggy fries are a waste of calories. Ooh. I wanted to follow up on my concern about ISIS I sent you. Perhaps that could be replaced with another food comparison. Thanks. I don't even know what they're talking about. What are they saying? There's no reply to that. Flux says, "Dumbass." At least we can count on Flux to be consistent. Marmite says, "Sir, this is not a cult." I agree. "It is a group of people that watch court cases." Yes, that's a thing. I myself am watching at least 5 at the moment. 5 court cases. Yeah, there's a lot going on. The what is it? Sarah Boone case is going on right now. There's a bunch of things happening. "After this court case can go as far as you and your client can take it, you and Laura will be forgotten." Wow. I don't know about that. Maybe by Marmite. "I can honestly say out of hundreds," oh, they have another comment here, "of court cases I have watched, yours, sir, is the most bizarre." And I think that's why I think it won't be forgotten. This is a very bizarre case. Hard to forget. "To have a lawyer and the client actually take to the internet in this manner is unbelievable." I agree with that. "You and your client brought this here on your X account. Your client took to her own accounts. You both have spent your time trying to change public opinion on the internet when that time should have been spent putting her evidence together and producing it in court." Fair. You brought not one piece of medical evidence in court. In fact, your client confessed to doctoring medical records and lied to the court about LA Planned Parenthood. Then you took to X to try and discredit the judge. If you and your client don't want to engage with people, then stop engaging. Stop tweeting about your client's case and advise her to stop making medium blogs. Do what you need to do quietly. Wait for the outcome as we will do. I can guarantee neither of you will sit quietly. You both crave the engagement. Hmm. You might be left with a few stragglers after this case is done, but most will move on to the next interesting or bizarre case. Yeah, I mean, if the case is over, let's say there's an appeal and the appeal goes one way or the other and everything is done and nobody files any more lawsuits, nobody files any more appeals, nobody files any more court actions, then yeah, there's nothing to report on, is there? Interesting. I kind of agree with that. Okay, let's go back. Lisa Nicole says it's crazy to say people are in a cult when they aren't. I agree. People are going by evidence. Your client is a liar and it's been proven time and time again. Mm. Mark, good old Marky Mark. Feel the vibrations. Following a puppet master who is spewing lies left and right with no credibility and a complete denial of facts and logic is, OMG, you're in a Laura Owens cult. I mean, there's no Laura Owens cult. I think they're just being a little sarcastic here. So did you have the proof about the Medium article or did you want to tweet about fries more? Yeah, we could talk about French fries all day, guys. Sometimes, depending on the French fry, I think if you have those thin fries, like the straw fries or the fast food style fries, I think ketchup is a good accessory for the fries. Now, I think once you start getting into the thick cut fries or the wedges, um, then I think you can get into the state space where maybe some sort of special spicy ranch or barbecue sauce or something like that might also be interesting. Just my opinion. Marmite says, can't find your tweet about the wellness check body cam video. There are two wellness check videos. One was asked to be made from the FBI, sir, and there's an audio recording of the FBI agent making that call. The FBI doesn't ask for a wellness check to be made for no reason. I agree with that. And I think the other wellness check was called in by somebody purporting to be a friend of the family. Who knows who that is? I don't know. Tanya Twinklestar says, have you ever tried getting a straight answer to a simple question from David Gingras? I have. I don't recommend it because he refuses to answer because he does not want to admit the truth. Where did Laura get the 20-plus week ultrasound she presented as her own at the OOP hearing? Yeah. And we covered that in a Court of X breaking news video. If you haven't seen that, go check that out. That's in the playlist. Very interesting stuff. Casey says it's much easier to dismiss people with different opinions if you simply other them by labeling them as cult members. Yeah. If you can sort of group people together as a evil group, they're troublemakers, and you start calling them names, what it does is it dehumanizes the individuals. And it takes the attention away from things that individuals might say or conversations you might have with individuals. My opinions are my own. They're not shared by some monolithic large group. Some of them might be, but not all of them. So I agree with Casey here. You can do better than that, David. You're a lawyer. Shouldn't you have excellent debate skills? That's fair. Name calling does not win a debate. Name calling does not produce new evidence. Jen says you are not arguing with a cult. You are arguing with bored people that have finally found a form of meaning and purpose in their life. Well, I mean, I don't think I'm reading these tweets because I'm bored. I just find it interesting. Um, I mean, there's lots of hobbies people can do. I'm not going to judge people's hobbies, whether or not they, spend one day reading tweets and another day skiing or gardening. We can do more than one at over time. If there is any hard evidence that Laura isn't a liar, I'm sure they wouldn't have anything to argue. You never provide hard evidence, in my opinion. It's fair. Question. Booger fan says you could put them in the microwave and apply some honey. Underrated on French fries. Ooh, that's interesting. I hadn't thought about that. Yeah, honey sort of sits in that same vein as barbecue sauce, I think. Sounds like a good idea to me. I would try it. Dose Reality says, "Have you tried researching what a cult actually is, dumbass?" Yeah, because generally a cult is going to be an organization, and when you just have random people on Twitter, random people on reading Reddit, that's not an organization. There's no org chart. So, number one, you have to have an actual organization, and I don't know of any organizations. I just know about social media platforms. Now, an organization could use social media platforms, but where's the organization? There isn't one. So that's interesting. And then, of course, that organization would have to control its membership in a way that it tries to control the behavior, the information, the thoughts, and the emotions of its membership. And I don't know anybody doing that in this case. Where's the evidence that anybody is doing that? Behavioral control, information control, thought control, emotional control. Nobody's controlling me. I'm just sitting here making a video. I'm doing what I want. I'm like Cartman. I do what I want. So there's no cult. And if you think there is, present your evidence and present your argument, and we'll see what people think about it. But just labeling something doesn't work. You can call a toaster an ice cream maker, but you're not going to get any ice cream out of it. Just toast. I don't know what else to say. John Rowe says, "I've never been a member of a cult. I've never watched The Bachelor. Laura has never proven she was pregnant." Yeah. Not only do I feel like she didn't prove pregnancy to a sufficient level, she didn't prove paternity either. And we need both. We need both in this case. So, yeah, John brings up a good point. Probable spam, which I never see spam in the probable spam. Like, spam to me would be like, click on this link for hot singles in your area. I never see anything like that. Panda for You says, "What's a cult in your brain?" Like, for real, though, what is the definition you are following? Because you're just throwing that out there without much support. Yeah, that's what I just said. Is it more like just an insult thing? I think maybe it is. Or do you think they are like academically a cult? Yeah, that's exactly what I'm asking as well. Because one, you need a real definition for. Exactly. Good call, Panda. Okay, Aura L. Owens. And I believe this is a photo of David's face on Laura's body, which is, I don't know, guys. Where are we? What is happening in life? How did we get here? Why is this happening? It's Monday. Mayo, and it goes on the fries, not in them. Otherwise, you may get baby fries. Oh dear. Yeah, mayonnaise. I could see like a spicy ranch, but mayonnaise? I mean, you can. It just sounds a little bit, it sounds too much. It sounds too heavy. Put a whole bunch of mayo on your fries. It sounds heavy to me. I'm delicate. I'm a delicate moose, guys. Very delicate moose. There's some replies. Marky Mark, feel the vibrations. Says, "But don't put them in your mouth. You might get baby fries then as well." You Weren't Prego says, "You get a like for your name and pick." Fire emoji. Okay, so people like the parody account here that we got going on. Tank top flip flops says, "Your rapid fire tweeting is honestly admirable. Where do you get your energy from?" Yeah, we've been on October 10th for quite a while. That's a good point, Tank Top. Who are you? Says a cult. Who is the leader? Good question. What is or what are the beliefs of said cult? It's a good question. Where is the document where where we must worship for said cult. Okay. Yeah, what does the cult follow? Is there a procedure? Is there a manual? Because as far as I know, following facts, listening to testimony, and making an educated decision based on life experience doesn't mean I'm in a cult. It's a good point. Thank you. Who are you? However, you may be. Well, that part I could have done without the final sentence. I mean, I don't think this guy's in a cult. He's just a lawyer doing PR, which I think is unadvisable. But what can you do? What can you do, guys? Let's move it along. Can we get Oh, guys, breaking news. We've passed October 10th. We're on October 11th. Oh, this deserves a sip of coffee. Delicious. All right, David says, busy Friday. I'm out of the office. We'll be in Tucson, which is a weird coincidence because this just happened. Original PDFs. Okay, so he's got, what is this? There's a PDF transfer to a clerk, letter to the clerk. I think this is just more appeal. Oh, yeah. So what they're saying here is they are transferring the appeal to one division to another. They're just figuring out where the appeal will happen. This seems fine. There's a clerk of appeals letter. We are electronically transmitting the record of an appeal and all subsequent documents filed in Division 1. Okay. Sounds good. To a different division. Please acknowledge there are no physical record items to be transmitted. That's fine. Acknowledge attached receipt. Provide the Division 2 case number. And return a copy to Division 1 electronically. Okay. So they are moving from Division 1 to Division 2. Magical. Very exciting. Happy to answer polite questions about the significance. Otherwise, enjoy your weekend. Sun emoji. Okay. We try to be polite. Be Better says, good morning. On venue logistics, if you are awarded a new trial by the Tucson Appellate Division, would that change the venue of the retrial from Maricopa to Pima County? Or can the Tucson Appellate select a different Maricopa County family court judge? All the best. Be better. Interesting question. Let's see. David says venue in Arizona is statutory. Here's the statute. A second trial would be held in Maricopa County per statute, but either side could ask for a change of venue to a different county for a wide variety of reasons. That's unlikely. All the best back at you. Okay, so that's interesting. All right, so they would, if they had a retrial, they would have it in Maricopa County unless somebody asks for a change of venue, which is unlikely. Makes sense to me. Be Better says, interesting. Curious, what are your thoughts on the Gallego divorce sealing, unsealing, which was filed in Yavapai instead of Maricopa County? If he needed a First Amendment lawyer, would you represent him? David says, I have mixed feelings. I would fight to protect the First Amendment right of my worst enemy because the law is that important. But unsealing divorce records is a tough one. It feels invasive and unnecessary, especially since it involves an ex-wife who isn't a public figure. Okay. Be Better says, good evening, David. Thank you for your feedback. I'm curious if you think it's acceptable they didn't follow the rules of the Arizona venue statute. Two public figures filed in Yavapai County where both parties are located somewhere else. I feel for the kids, but the rules are important. Be Better says, and then are there additional comments hidden in here? I don't think so. Be Better says, is replying to someone named Mark Randazza. Nice to see you. I don't see any Mark in here though, but who knows what the heck I'm doing with Twitter. Maybe it's in here. Oh, there's even more stuff here. Oh, he's saying, oh, wait, looks like the X is a public figure. We're on a different case now, guys. Still, when it comes to stuff like this, I think privacy interests may exceed the value of releasing the records. Tank Top Flip Flop says, what's in your cup tonight? I am drinking coffee right now. Tank Top. Okay, but Be Better said, hi, Mark. Nice to see you. Please see the above discussion about a First Amendment matter in Arizona. Putting the political implications aside because nothing goes well going there, do you think additional protections and/or venue leniency are appropriate for divorces? This is interesting. I think obviously you want to, in a divorce situation, if there's kids, you want to maybe provide some anonymity for the kids. Um, but I think the fact that parents are getting divorced um, tends to be a matter of public record. Maybe not all the details of why there's a divorce or how they're arguing in all their filings. Maybe that could be up to a judge. I don't know. It's an interesting question. Alyssa, the Chronic Crafter, is back on the original topic and says, "Hello, David. Could you please explain the significance of both these documents?" David says, "One is just a letter with no significance." Well, I mean, they're saying, like, we're sending you the electronic things. Please provide a receipt. So this is a mechanical handoff. I think there's significance because you want to make sure that the Court of Appeals has all the documents. The transfer order is significant in the sense it means this case is being moved out of Phoenix into a much smaller venue, Tucson. I like this for our side. I expect Tucson judges will have zero interest in anything other than the law. Well, I mean, are you throwing Maricopa judges under the bus with that statement? Like, how do you prove that statement? You're saying that Maricopa judges care about things other than the law? That sounds like a heavy claim. I would expect to see some heavy evidence for that heavy claim. I don't know. It also means the judges in Tucson will know nothing about Mata. She has been appealed 10 plus times in her short tenure. Well, what is the judge's tenure? What does short mean? Again, there's no, he says short as if we're supposed to know what that means. Does that mean she's been a judge for a month, a year, 10 years, 5 years, 100 years? What does short mean? I don't know what it means. This guy is so qualitative in his statements. She has been appealed 10 plus times. Well, you don't know the actual number. You know it's over 10, but you don't know how many times like, how many appeals have been overturned? Or, well, she's been appealed. That doesn't mean all the appeals went through. Certainly, people will try to appeal if things don't go their way. That doesn't have anything to do with the judge. Does he mean the appeals were her decisions were overturned 10 plus times? This language is very ambiguous. Like anybody can file an appeal and maybe the appeal just dies or doesn't go anywhere. That's fine. Doesn't say anything about the judge. I don't know how to read this sentence because it's just not written with an attention to detail and a level of discipline that I expect from technical writing. Disappointing. So the Phoenix branch of the appeals court knows her. Okay. I mean, so what? What does it matter if an appeals court knows the judges they get appeals from or if it's transferred from another district? I don't know why that matters. The Tucson judges will probably see her as a complete stranger. Okay, like, fine. So they will only focus on the law. Is he saying that if the appeals court went to an appeals judge that knew who Judge Mata was, they would have some favoritism and they would ignore the legal arguments? That's a heavy claim to sort of imply that there's some sort of judicial bias going on in Maricopa, but not in Tucson. Where, like, that seems like a very heavy thing to say or to claim without providing some evidence here. Oh my gosh, guys. Chase Stone says, so what happens when they also see that Laura is a liar? Slander them as well? I mean, yeah, are you going to, like, if your appeal doesn't go well in Tucson, are you going to try and throw them under the bus? I don't know. We don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Rach says, did she win or lose the appeals? I'm trying to understand why you think this is a win and huge. Yeah, Rach has, I think I asked that as well. Alyssa, the Chronic Crafter says, does the 10 plus appeals in Phoenix support your case if she has had this many orders overturned? Yeah, weird. Um, we don't know. I mean, if these appeals were all overturned 10 plus times, um, why wouldn't he want to keep his case in Phoenix? If he thinks the judge gets overturned a lot in Phoenix, wouldn't he want to keep it in Phoenix? He says he thinks it's a win they're going to Tucson. Very strange. Flux says, dumbass. Thanks, Flux. Lydia Small says, hey, is this significant? If you have a second, I'd love your thoughts on this case. Well, I don't know who this is. A Burkhart Law. Andrea Burkhart actually replies. Fish emoji. What are these? Fishes or barracudas? And a pirate flag emoji. Ooh, pirates. Yar. Andrea says, I don't think so. The law they're citing is about transfers to equalize caseload between districts. We get transfers like that here too when caseloads get backed up. It means Division 1 is backlogged right now. It's fair. Lydia says, run away with me. I'll be your faithful servant forever. And if indeed an appeal is granted, they are limited to the evidence they've heretofore submitted, right? Like it could just bring more attention to her malfeasance in the long run. Thank you so much. David says, FYI, at this level, there is no option for the court not to grant our appeal. Laura has a right to be heard at this level, so we will submit briefs and likely will have oral argument. Okay. He says likely we'll have oral argument. I don't know why he says likely. Maybe. I don't know. At that point, the court has lots of options, including ordering the whole case dismissed. And it has lots of options I'm sure you don't like. He lists the one he likes. Doesn't list the ones he doesn't like. That's very PR. Man, I wouldn't want to buy a used car from this guy. Oh, I don't know, guys. And then David says the appellate court could also send it back for a second trial. You might like that too. I don't know. This would not happen with Mata. What does that mean? We have a right to a new judge. Oh, he's saying if there was a second trial, it would be a different judge. Sure. I wouldn't be surprised, right? If an appeal goes up and says you have to retry a case, it doesn't seem like they would just give you the exact same judge. I mean, maybe they could. I don't know why they would, though. If the appellate court affirms, meaning Clayton wins, we will ask the AZ Supreme Court for review. Okay, so he is going through some other options. That's good. But that's optional. They could decline to hear us. Okay. Interesting. Lydia says, so sorry, Gingras. Andre doesn't bother with lightweights. It ain't fair. What? I mean, I don't know. Is that a dig or something? I'm not sure what's going on here. All right, Marky Mark, the Funky Bunch. Remember when you said Laura didn't doctor the photos in the Medium article, then talked about French fries? After making it clear you're not sure how suing people works, you don't answer questions, you just get sillier. It doesn't matter which court this is in. Wow. Spiner Clyde says, Clayton Dick Rider. What? Marky Mark says, the likelihood of that resulting in pregnancy is a little higher than Laura's tonsil twins. Spiner Clyde says, zip up Clayton's pants when you're done. Marky Mark says, did he make you do that after you swallowed Laura? Who is Spiner Clyde? Spencer Hill. Coming after Marky Mark. Good thing Marky Mark works out. I don't know. Sarah Lang says, I'm pregnant and everything you're doing is so offensive. I kind of agree. If she was pregnant, it wouldn't have been so hard for her to prove it. I definitely agree with that. She's lost all credibility because she lied. Yeah, trust is hard to gain, easy to lose. So if you say a bunch of lies and then tell the truth, people might just not believe you, even if you're telling the truth at the end. That's the way it goes. That's the worst thing you can do in a court case. Lie. Maybe. Tanya Twinklestar says, yay, I have a polite question. Where did Laura get her 20-plus week ultrasound that she sent to Clayton and insisted under oath that it was hers? It was the one that ended up on the Halloween costume that they talked extensively about during the OOP hearing. Where did she get it? And we covered that more in depth in a breaking news video in the playlist here. So if you want to see more about that, you can check that video out. Very interesting stuff about this 20 plus week ultrasound in that video. Benny the dog says the quote unquote cult does not exist. I don't know any of these other people. I've been following the case on my own. I'm a mother of a son who could easily be the same victim of Laura's coercive control tactics. If we don't bring awareness, anyone's child could be painted a predator. It's fair. Myra Gulch says, do you think it is possible to obtain a clean slate with so much social media content? Do you think it would be better to keep the case out of the public until a jury trial concludes? Not just this case, but any case. Thank you. That's interesting. Okay, and then we've got this post was deleted by the post author, but David had replied, all this means is the case is being transferred from the division in Phoenix to the one in Tucson. This has nothing to do with the merits. Phoenix is just busy. Seems fair. But I'm happy about this. It means our 3-judge panel will almost certainly know nothing about Mata. So it's a clean slate. I don't really understand if you have a 3-judge panel in Phoenix and you have a 3-judge panel in Tucson. I mean, why does it matter if the judges know each other? They're going to look at an appeal and judge it on its merits. Otherwise, that's judicial misconduct. It's almost like he is claiming that Phoenix is subject to judicial misconduct, but he hasn't provided any evidence of that. I find this very strange. I'm not sure I understand. Casey says they will still see the truth, so that will not be helpful to you and Laura. Yeah, they're not adding new evidence that shows that she was pregnant. They're not adding new evidence that shows that she proved paternity. I don't know. They can argue technical details of the case for sure. That'll be interesting. David says, sorry you feel that way, but if I'm right, we will win the appeal. Hey, guys, this is okay. This is linguistically called a tautology. If I'm right, we will win the appeal. This is like saying like I don't know. This is like saying like I don't know. If somebody pours a bucket of water all over me, I'll be wet. Like, yeah. If I tell a joke, then I'll have told a joke. Like, it goes without saying. If I'm right, we'll win the appeal. Like, yeah. You don't need to write a tautology. Precision, attention to detail. That's what I want. And I'm not getting it, guys. I'm not getting it. Even if Laura lied. Okay. My brief will explain the legal reasons for this. Yeah, you could win on some sort of procedural technicality. It's reasonable. And no, the appeal will not challenge Mata's finding that Laura was not pregnant. Did she say that? That's irrelevant to the legal issues. So here he's laying out how the appeal is going to focus on the procedural aspects of the case as opposed to the fundamentals of pregnancy and paternity, which is fine if that's what they want to do with their time. Mel MC says, quote, even if Laura lied, that is a very interesting thing to say. I've always maintained that admitting the lie would only get her a slap on the wrist, but she could write a book and get a movie deal and pick who plays her, but y'all want to do it the hard way. Maybe. I don't know. Show additional replies. Ooh, offensive content. We got to look at this. Hoodoo says tool. Oh boy. What a bracing insult. Okay, so we looked at this. We looked at these 2 documents. Life is good. We're moving on. We're 34 minutes in. Let's keep going. We might make it to the top, guys. We might do it in this episode. Let's see. David says, best part of being an uncle, acting like a parent, but the commitment is short term. I don't think this has anything to do with the case, so we're going to skip it. He's just got some cool family photos. Looks fun. He says, he's replying to himself. He says, see also Gentile versus State Bar of Nevada. Let's see. First Amendment protection survives even when the attorney violates a disciplinary rule he swore to obey when admitted to the practice of law. Interesting. Okay. At the very least, our cases recognize that disciplinary rules governing the legal profession cannot punish activity protected by the First Amendment. Okay, so he's basically saying I can say what I want. Um, that's fine. It's weird. He's replying to himself. I really don't understand Twitter organization. It's very strange to me, non intuitive. Um, I liked the simple threading of LiveJournal. It was very good and precise. David says, oh, he's got another quote here from scholar.google.com. Lawyers may freely voice criticisms supported by a reasonable factual basis, even if they turn out to be mistaken. That's fair. Attorneys who make statements impugning the integrity of a judge are, however, entitled to other First Amendment protections applicable in the defamation context. To begin with, attorneys may be sanctioned for impugning the integrity of a judge or the court only if their statements are false. Truth is an absolute defense. Okay, seems all right. Let's see, what do we got? Steph Berry says criticisms are not treats or slander. Ooh, it's not Halloween yet. I think she means threats or slander. David says agreed. Very good. Why are there 3 comments and it's only showing me 1? Oh, wait. Steph says, but that's what you're doing. You're making veiled threats. Oh, maybe she has to say treats because Twitter will block her posts otherwise. I don't know. Get your Halloween candy now, guys. And calling people in groups of people slanderous names. You say it's allowed because it's criticism, but your actions are not just that. Hmm. I don't know. It's a good question. Cloud Trout Goblin says, okay, Arizona Bar doesn't punish you for your opinions. We get that. But do they punish you for lying? Because you have just admitted that your client lied about the sonogram used at the OOP hearing. Well, that's his client. That's not him. I don't know. You have also stated previously that you would drop your client if she lied. Interesting. Panda for You says, DG, you realize you exposed Laura for trying to pass off her sister's sonogram as your own, right? Ain't that another lie from Laura that she should apologize for? Good point. No replies to any of these. Okay. Let's go up here to the next one. David says, for all cult members praying the Arizona Bar punishes me for simply expressing my views. Know this. The bar has already litigated this issue to the U.S. Supreme Court. The Arizona Bar lost. The court held the First Amendment trumps the bar's desire to suppress speech. I mean, I think the bar probably just wants lawyers to behave because it will make their life easier because they'll get fewer complaints they have to sift through. I don't think they want to suppress speech. I think they just want lawyers to behave professionally. Like, that's not about censorship. I don't know. I don't know, guys. And then he quotes a case, Bates versus State Bar of Arizona, which is fine. And he says, bottom line, I'm allowed to express opinions which are protected speech under the First Amendment. That's fine. Bar counsel swore an oath to support the U.S. Constitution, and I have no doubt they will do that, even if it makes JFC sad. I'm not sad about anything. He says, debate is a good thing. If you disagree, you are an ass. Well, I mean, we have to, he uses the word debate a lot. I mean, I don't know what we're debating. Debate is when you're sort of saying, like, well, I have a position and I have another position. I'm just here trying to understand this case. I don't have a position, really. I mean, I have thoughts, but I'm not trying to debate a position. I'm not a litigant here. So he uses the word debate in this really general way, where I think to me it has much more specific meaning. And I would like it if he used more precise language. But what can we do? Be Better says, if someone needed a First Amendment lawyer and you had a conflict or were not available, who would you recommend for them? Is there a list of First Amendment lawyer specialists? Do you have to file something with the bar to be one? He says, my friend Mark, and we're back here on Mark Randazza, is probably the best First Amendment lawyer I've ever seen. Hmm, interesting. So this begs the question, if Brad knows this guy, then Brad knows somebody who maybe has fought for the First Amendment more than David. Going back to last episode. Anyway, better than me by orders of magnitude. Well, how do you measure whether this guy Mark is better than David by orders of magnitude? What test do we do to determine that orders of magnitude, and by orders of that'd be like 10 times would be one order, 100 times would be two orders, 1,000 times would be three orders. How do we measure this? This just seems like more rhetoric that is unmeasurable. I don't know what to do with it. But people who practice in this area are not rare. Okay, that's good. Tons of folks I could recommend. Mark is $1,000 an hour, so not the right fit for everyone. Spendy. Let's see. Mark says people who practice in this area are actually kind of rare. So David says people who practice in this area are not rare, and Mark says people who practice in this area are actually kind of rare. I don't know, guys. I mean, well, first of all, you have to decide practice. What does practice in this area mean? It sounds like there could be some gray area in that definition. I don't know. There's a lot of people who think they do or think they can, and then they fuck it all up. Okay, maybe. Let's see. Geriatric says, I'm curious which category do you put your friend TG in? My guess is in the fuck it all up category. Just my opinion. Oh no, there's no reply to that. Oh dear. Mel MC says, I am also allowed to express opinions without threat of defamation. I've worked in medicine for 20 plus years, specifically evidence based medicine. Nice. It is my opinion that she was never pregnant and never has been based on clinical evidence. I am allowed to opine this. Very good. David says, I agree. Oh, finally, we agree on something. You can express an opinion. Everyone can. Don't lie about facts. Okay. But saying you don't believe Laura is an opinion you have every right to share. Okay, that's good. I'd never threaten anyone over an opinion, no matter how strongly I disagree. The right to debate is what makes America great. That's good. Carol says, you've never made a threat. Are you serious? And then Karen says, yep, protected speech. We believe Laura lied multiple times. We believe she was never pregnant ever. And we believe you are taking advantage of a delusional woman who could be better served with some truth. And David says, how am I taking advantage of Laura? To which Karen says, you are supporting her fraud. She may believe she is right, but the evidence of her lies ruins is too vast. The evidence of her lies is too vast. If she came out now and said she was never pregnant, would you apologize to the people you call a cult? Or would you also be autistic? And David says, if Laura if Laura admitted lying, and then he's doing an if A then B, and he omits the then. But effectively, he's saying, if Laura admitted lying, I would do everything I could to still help her. That's good. Within the limits of what is ethical. I should hope so. And yes, if Laura admitted lying, of course, I'd apologize to anyone affected. And then he says, but I expect Jesus will return before that happens. Could still occur, though. I don't know what Jesus has anything to do with anything. And now we get into, this is a section where I get more into these tweets in the breaking news video I did on the 20-week ultrasound. So I'm not going to go over them here. If we've already gone over them. Okay. But in any case, maybe there's something in here I haven't gone over. But go watch that video if you want to see that topic. And let's move it along quick because I only have 15 minutes left for this episode. But this is very interesting stuff. This is a very interesting thread about the First Amendment, about expressing an opinion. It's pretty good. All right. And then he posts, now we're up to October 13th. Glad to see County Attorney Rachel Mitchell doing her job and focusing on priorities like putting men who sexually abuse women in prison for decades. And then he highlights this news article that says Maricopa County Attorney Rachel Mitchell announced Friday that Brian Kibawat Chuchny was sentenced to 20 years in prison for the SA. Okay. I don't know why he's posting this. I don't know what this has to do with the case. I think what he's doing here is he's subtly trying to make a false equivalency claim between this SA case and against Clayton in the Owens v. Eckerd case. But as we know, details matter. And if you look at the details of this case, this Brian Chuchny case, and you look at the Clayton case, I don't think there's much in common. So I don't know why he's bringing it up. It seems like a scare tactic or a false equivalency fallacy. Uh, I just don't know what I'm supposed to do with that in any case. Then David says, I was privileged enough to teach a law school class today on the CDA. I felt it went well, but Professor Kip's email thanking me wins the award for hyperbole. Cowboy emoji. What does a cowboy have to do with this professor or hyperbole? Or I don't get it. Cowboy hat face? I don't get it, guys. Yes, it was good, but spectacular. Bit much, but I'll take it. Thanks again, Professor. Same time next year. uh, Jones v. Dirty World, how the CDA really works. Okay. Um, I wonder, I don't know, what kind of system does this guy have? Because when you look at this window, it's like the resolution is very small. Why does this guy have a PC or a laptop with such small resolution? It's 2024. I don't know, guys. I don't know. And then this whole post just feels to me like a humble brag. I don't know. It's a little creepy. Like it's one thing to say like I'm going to go teach a class. Hey, I taught a class and I thought it went well. But to, trot out the guy's personal email to him about how great it was or whatever, like it just feels like a humble brag. There's not a lot of humility here. I'm a little disappointed. JNY the Human says I need a lawyer. A blogger is about to sue me for doing big doinks on his comments. Oh dear. You weren't Prego says, do you mean Kip Coddington? Weird you have the decency to redact his info that you've already disclosed, but played dumb about redacting Omar's personal cell phone number. You're such a twat. Yeah, I mean, he posted an email from Omar the Tilted Lawyer that had Omar's information in it, and he's redacting information in this professor's email. Oh boy. Taraturi says, I am not surprised it went well at all. I went to undergrad school at University of Wyoming, and I am certain the people in Wyoming are the kindest and most genuine people I've ever met. It is also why I ended up in Arizona. It is colder than any place I've ever been, including Alaska. Marky Mark says, maybe they will let you talk about ethics next. Face with tears of joy emoji. Georgia Barenberg says, Lord help anyone who follows your teaching about anything. Wow, harsh. Are these replies or I don't know. We don't get to see it. It says possible spam. There's never any spam in the possible spam. They even put David replying to someone in the spam folder. Why? It's his own post. Twitter is so weird, guys. Jerome says, too bad David didn't get to review his latest fail of a case, Owens v. Bachelor Clayton Eckerd with Wyoming law. Okay. David says, when I win the appeal. Well, don't you mean if you win the appeal? When you win the appeal, that is shouldn't it be if? Like, you can try to predict the future. This is not precise language. When you win the appeal, it's not up to you. You can't make a claim like that. Like, I can say, when I'm going to lunch, I will send you a photo of my chicken sandwich because that's under my control. So if I say, when I do something, it's under my control and then I can do it, assuming something doesn't interfere. But he is not the judge. He cannot say that the appeal will go through, that he will win. It's an if conditional. It's not a win. It's not a temporal statement of a plan that he has. It should be if. Words matter, guys. Words matter. I'm sure that will be a fun presentation to give. Okay. So if he wins, it'll be a fun presentation. Remember, same thing happened with the Jones case. Judge refused to follow the law. Got that fixed 100% on appeal. I mean, what do you mean you got that fixed 100%? What would it mean to get it fixed 70%? I don't know. This is very weird. This is weird stuff. Same thing will happen here, hopefully. See, now he just, instead of saying the same thing will happen here, then he puts in parentheses, hopefully. Like, oops, I better hedge my bet. Like, just, oh, the bravado in this language is just not, I'm not impressed. I'm not impressed by it. It doesn't convince me of anything. You can't convince me with bravado and rhetoric and using words in these sort of egotistical ways. Doesn't do anything for me, guys. Name says you went from 100% we're winning the appeal to hopefully. Well, yeah, I mean, because he's not in charge of the appeal. David says, I'm a realist. Is he? I don't know. He's a lawyer. I'm a realist. What does that mean? He's not hallucinating. If the law matters, we win. If Clayton's fanboy cult matters more than the law, perhaps we lose. What does that even mean? If Clayton's fanboy cult matters more than the law. See, this is another false dichotomy he's created. Clayton can win his case within the correct confines of the law. That is possible. He's left that out. He's saying that within the confines of the law, I can only win. If I lose, it proves that there's misconduct. This is a false dilemma. These are not the only two options. Clayton can win a court case based on the merits of the law. And he's left that option out to present a false dichotomy. Politicians do this a lot. They present these false dichotomies. They'll say, if I win the election, it was a fair election. But if I don't win the election, there must have been fraud. You can lose an election without there being fraud. Clayton can win the court case without there being judicial misconduct. This is a false dichotomy logical fallacy, and we need to learn to recognize it when we see it, guys. This is an abuse of the English language. It's disappointing. But I have faith that the rule of law matters more than any one person. That's fair. So I'd say our chances of winning are as close to 100% as you can get. What does that mean? As close to 100% as you can get is 100%. Like, what does he what does he mean as close to 100% as you can get? What does that mean? Does he mean 99.9 repeating? Oh, which for all intents and purposes is 100%. From a limit perspective, I don't know, guys. What are we going to do? What are we going to do with this? This guy is just, he types these things, and I don't think he really thinks about what he's saying. And I mean, I don't think he's doing this on purpose, like writing these strange sentences that aren't very precise or doing false dilemmas. I don't think he's sitting there saying, I'm going to go reply to this tweet with a false dilemma logical fallacy because I'm devious. I don't think he's doing that. I think he just doesn't understand. I think he needs to learn a little more. I don't know. I don't know, guys. It's sad. Karen says, can you explain exactly how Rule 26 causes a winning appeal for your client? I'm curious how the law works and also need to know how to vote on laws in the future. No reply. Pacific Northwest Mama Bear. Ooh, Pacific Northwest represent. Says, reminds me of an old adage, if the facts are against you, argue the law. I'm pretty certain this is not an actual thing as opposed to you're either pregnant or you're not. I guess. Marky Mark says, still, well, there was a reply to this. Maybe, did he reply? No, Pacific Northwest Mama Bear just says, you're my bad. Don't come for me. I did indeed pass high school English. Yeah, Twitter is just unforgiving on allowing people to edit their comments. Marky Mark says, still waiting on the proof you had that she didn't doctor the photos on her Medium article, remember? You threatened to sue people that kept saying she did. You can't even create reasonable doubt for any of your stances regarding her lies, much less win an appeal. There's a reply to this. Cybertruck says, all I'm reading is excuses for if you lose. Your client was never pregnant and is a giant fraud. She harasses men through the court system, and you know that. Fair. No replies to that either. Name says, if we lose, it's because of the cult, not because of the case. Sounds like if we lose, it's because of election fraud, not because people didn't want me as president. That was the analogy I just made. Thank you, Name. There we go. Name is out here representing. Let's see. Name says UW Law. Okay. Jerome says, does the professor know you published their email on Twitter? This is not demure, not subtle, not humble. Zello, I don't know how to pronounce this. XOLA. Zola. Did you speak on your past of sexual encounters with minors? Surely that's relevant to communications. I don't know. If this guy has past court cases, I'm not really interested in getting into any of that. I'm interested in this one case and just sticking with that. Jerome says, ooh, you forgot to write blessed. Make sure to do that next time, Boomer. What? Oh, boy. Wow. There's no need to be rude. Okay. So we got through that. And we're at about an hour. Let's get through one more thing here because we got to catch up, guys. We're going to be doing an episode 6 at this point. Bloviating is underused as a word in the English language. Yes, sometimes you could argue this applies to me. Ineffable is also a good one, rarely used but ought to get more attention. What others should be on the list? Bloviating means to speak or write in a pompous, empty, or pretentious manner, often for a long time, and saying little. It's funny how he says, like, you could say, I'm like this, which is, I think, what I was just sort of saying in the last set of tweets. For example, you might describe someone as bloviating if they are speaking a lot in an annoying way, as if they are very important. As if maybe nobody has done more to protect the First Amendment than me. Oh boy. Ineffable means something that is so powerful or emotional that it cannot be described in words. Okay. For example, you might describe joy or beauty as ineffable. Here are some examples of ineffable in a sentence. She felt ineffable joy at the sight of her children. His paintings have an ineffable beauty. That's nice. Okay, so we're learning some new words. Be Better says fun. I've always liked incorrigible. For a not lovely definition, it rolls off the tongue nicely. For Spanish, it's hands down sacapuntas. It means pencil sharpener, but it sure sounds more fun. Cloud Trout Goblin says, my two favorite words are obfuscate and facade. And then very close to these are, oh no, anti-disestablishmentarianism and supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Thank you, Clout Trout Goblin, for making me say those words today. I hope I did okay. Cybertruck says, your blog got effed, not ineffable. And then Cybertruck says, someone archived your ineffable blog. Maybe now you'll understand how archiving works. Okay. All right, guys. That's where we're going to wrap this episode up. We are going to, okay, they're like, go follow some people. And next time, oh, guys, next time it's the kitchen photo post. The kitchen photo post, guys. We're going to get into it in the next episode. If you stuck around this long, thank you for your time. This is Bruce from Oregon. This is Bruce the Moose. Have a good one.